really tight. Why don't you just make a manual that shows like where to connect it, or just give us this measurement?
The extender is covered with decades of grime. My most recent issue is that the hydraulics inside the extender hose were leaking, so I pretty much have hydraulic fluid everywhere. So I'm using brake cleaner to clean this off. And typically brake cleaner is a no-no when associated with welding because brake cleaner used to have chlorine in it, and chlorine in welding doesn't mix. I'm using this particular brake cleaner because it's non-chlorinated, and also I expect it to be well dissipated by the time I start welding. I'm using Cool Tool drilling and tapping fluid to cool down the bit for this hole. The outer extender hole half has a drain hole, just that water does not get caught inside the extender hole. The position of the manual thumb would have covered this drain hole, so here I'm drilling a 1/2 inch hole into the mechanical thumb where I expect it to line up with the drain hole, just that water can continue to drain from the extender hole. I'm using a 60 grit 4-inch sanding wheel on my angle grinder in order to take off some of the paint on the extender hole arm and also on the epoxy coating on the manual thumb, such that I can get a good surface to weld the two together. Here you can see there's a lot of scrapes and gouges on the extender hole body, and this is over a lifetime of using the extender hole boom as kind of like a backstop for trying to pick stuff up with the bucket. This part is a critical alignment. If you can get this part on straight the first time, it'll save you a lot of trouble. I only have a couple of these long clamps, and obviously more would have been better. I'm using these guys to steady the mount here, really just long enough so that I can tack this on, because once it's tacked, it won't be moving around at all.
Okay, so the manual that is supplied with this thumb is basically, it just shows you what parts there are, and it gives you one possible scenario for how this thing connects. But I'll tell you something, it does not address this thing at all. And it's not super obvious why this part's even needed. So I noticed that this arm has a second hole here. So either it's a reused part that has some other purpose on some other installation, or that part actually has a purpose that relates to this. So my theory is that that second hole and the orientation, the location of this is critical for how this arm moves when you fold this guy back up. So my theory is that if I take out this pin, everything's still connected, and I can move this pin up. I can move this, come on. I would put this pin in over here into this mount, which is connected onto the dipper extension. And then once that's on there, this is kind of has another another place where it can live. It can live right here. But if I pull this pin after this guy is mounted, because this guy it's like 30 pounds. I mean, it's not super light, but it's not super heavy. It's just kind of annoying to work with. So once I pull this guy, let's just assume that was sitting there. This will all slide back, and this hole is being used there, but once it's all the way down, it's going to mount into this hole here. apply that. And then this is going to come up and basically slide right up to there like that. Yeah, the only catch is I have to make sure that this can clear this, which it will. It will. There's enough space for this and this and this to all be lined up. Just like that. Yep. I think that's how it's supposed to go. Hey, Type, why don't you just make a manual that shows like where to connect it, or just give us this measurement, or anything, or show that that's the way it's supposed to be used. Might have been helpful. That's it. I'm going to do that.
Okay, so if you don't watch anything else, this is probably the important part. This is where I line up the brace, the inner hole on the brace, with the center hole on the main mount. So you've probably seen me do this a couple of times now, but I keep checking the alignment of the brace with the claw, with the mount, to make sure like everything lines up. Because the only thing worse than, having to do this once is having to do it twice and grind off all these welds and stuff. So I keep on trying to make sure that everything's lined up, and it looks like it is. The brace lines up, and it's halfway down position, all the way down position, all the way up position. And so I'm just going to do some cleanup welds here, and that's it. Thanks for watching.